Get ready for the world's greatest Arsenal podcast. Welcome to another podcast by Guns and Yellow Ribbons. Enjoy the show.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Guns and Yellow Ribbons. My name is Fergus, I am your host. I'm joined by my steed, my best mate, my good pal, Gooner Debate. And we have a special guest, and we've just met, because she is that special, we've made it one guest only. We've got Princess Gooner. Amanda is joining us on this podcast. We're going to talk about the Leeds game last night and look ahead to the Leicester game, plus the general Gooner chat. People, I am really delighted to have you on here. I'm a bit knackered. I've been back out on the road again, and my head is frazzled from driving. I think I've done nearly about 700-800 miles this week. So it's taken. It doesn't take much to confuse an Irishman, but I tell you what, this is getting me. Ladies first, Amanda, how are you? Welcome back to the show, and it's all for you.
Oh, hello, you two. Hello, everyone. It's so nice. I love this podcast. It's so nice to be invited back on again.
Trev,
what?
You did take a lateral flow test before you came on here, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I've got a bit of a cold, mate. I'm sneezing like there's no tomorrow, but I've definitely not got any COVID. I'm fine, just a bit of a sniffle. But when you get to my age, you have to be a bit careful. You see, Fergus, I'm well into my 30s now, so I have to just take it a bit steady.
1930s, you mean?
Looking forward to this. I love talking to the princess. Well, actually, I like listening to her because you rarely get a word in. But nevertheless, I do like talking to the princess. I love you. You know, I think the world of you, princess.
And I do you as well, Hilsey. Oh, thank you, Andy. That was nice.
Glad to have you on here tonight, sweetheart. And you can help me put up with the other fella there next.
With the tired Irishman up there.
The tired Irishman is going to drop his THs and everything else he'll do like that. Honestly, my wife says to me, my Irish accent gets even stronger when I'm tired. I'll go this, that, these, and those. Guaranteed. Amanda, last time I bumped into you, you were eating cheese and biscuits at Man City. I didn't stay to the end on that one. I left at 4-0. But it was great meeting you in person for the first time, because I know we've spoken virtually many times. We haven't seen each other at the Emirates yet this season.
No, it's really hard for us at the moment because we literally go straight there, eat and go in the grounds. I haven't even been to any of the pubs. I haven't seen anyone, but we will. There will come a time that I'll be able to do it. It's just work, and we've got a new puppy like Hilsey. My little puppy's 16 weeks old now, so it's not so easy to be out for hours on end. We've obviously got my son who helps with the dog, but we get to football. As long as we get there to watch the match, it just would be nice to come and see everyone in the pubs and everything. I haven't done that for a while. We will do that one day.
Always pop around and see us at half-time. You know where we meet.
Oh, my God. I'm block 110. You're like a million miles away from me.
Downstairs and around a bit.
Yeah, but come on. Tell me ages.
Think of the steps. It's good for your steps.
I do.
Steps.
But no, it was lovely to see you at Manchester. It was great. And I didn't eat cheese and biscuits. I was in the posh seats, but we didn't have cheese and biscuits. We got a free drink and we played very well for 6 minutes. And then it was capitulation time.
Yeah, it was just a little. Listen, let's not hark back to those times. We're on a 7-match unbeaten run under Mikel Arteta. Last night we qualified to the
it's 8, isn't it?
It's 8 now.
It's 8.
Including
you are
yes,
right, Fergus. It's 6
tired.
wins and 2 draws.
She's doing my job. I love this. She's doing my job.
Oh Christ! I'm gonna get.
I'm sitting there thinking, it's 8. It's not 7. Have I got this wrong?
Okay. Yeah, you got me. So
because we spoke about Man City, that's what happened, Fergus. It threw you, didn't it?
We got through to the quarterfinals of the Carabo Cup. We beat Leeds. Let's look at that game. So that game, the lineups. First of all, Trev, what did you think of the lineups? There was some unusual. Is unusual the right word? Would you have started Nketiah over Balogun, considering the situation with Balogun and Nketiah probably leaving at the end of the season? Would you have started Kolasinac? El Neni, etc., etc. What was your thoughts on that lineup?
I must apologise, people, firstly, for the pronouncement of most of those names by Fergus. We all know what he means. He just gets the
I got them
bits
all right
in the
this time.
places. Fergus, without going into the specifics of every position, it was about the team I expected when it comes to strength. You know, I was honestly hoping that Arteta would go a bit stronger with his selection because we've got no Europe and we've got a week off in 2 weeks' time. And I honestly think that to reach a final of any description this year would do our club and, more importantly, our fans the world good. You know, so I was hoping that he'd go stronger, but he didn't. And in the end, it was about the team I expected. Nketiah, Balogun, 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. And he played, obviously, he thought was going to do the job for him. And in the end, he's made the right choices, hasn't he? We've won the game 2-0. Rode our luck a little bit, I thought. Relied on Leno a little bit. You know, you wouldn't have wanted someone of less experience than Leno in goal really last night. You wouldn't have wanted a Renarson or someone like that. I think that might have made it a different game. But we didn't. We had Leno. We played all right with what was definitely a second string side, and we're through to the next round. So what more can you ask for, my friend?
Listen, the result is all that matters. But Amanda, Smith Rowe and Kolasinac are the two probably question marks. Nketiah less so maybe, but Smith Rowe, first team player who played really, really well against Villa and has played nearly every game, every minute, every game for that 8-match unbeaten run. And then Kolasinac, a player that's so far on the fringe, he nearly falls off the edge of the earth. What was your thoughts on those two?
It's really funny, isn't it? When the squad comes out for any game, everyone's so critical. Well, one thing I would like to say, hi Russ. One thing I would like to say is we don't know what goes on every day in the whole week before the build up to a game. We don't know who's fit. We don't know who's not. We don't know who's taking a knock. We don't know who's ill. You look, was it Mari that was going to play but caught the virus? Is it Mari? Yeah. And now we know that Ben White wasn't injured. He became ill during the game. So, yeah. So, I mean, we all thought he was injured. We was all petrified that he wasn't going to play Saturday. He's not injured because one of the journalists was telling us last night. I wasn't there last night, but it was really interesting to watch it at home. When the squad came out, I was a bit concerned Smith Rowe was playing because of Saturday. But then I thought to myself, he does know what he's doing, Mikel Arteta. He's not an idiot. I don't care what anyone says. He knows what he's doing. He knows what's important. Every game we play is completely important. Absolutely. So I was quite pleased that the fringe players came in. And I will like to say something about these fringe players, you know, Chambers, Kolasinac, etc. They never moan. You don't see them on social media being anything disrespectful. They came in, they played in the League Cup, and they played well. Second half. First half was a little bit dire. But I was a bit concerned when I saw Smith Rowe because we just want to wrap him up in cotton wool, don't we? And we don't want him to get injured or anything like that. But what I would say is he's the manager. He picks the team that he thinks is going to win the game. It's as simple as that. Leeds are not a bad side. If they'd have had their scoring boots on, it might have been a different matter in the first half. They didn't, and we were lucky. So no, I wasn't. I'm not one of these that ever goes, "Oh my God, why is he not playing?" I will sit there and think, "Okay, he must be playing for a reason." We've still got to beat Leeds. You know, can you imagine if we'd have lost last night? What it would have been like on social media or the journalists? They'd have just wanted Arteta out straight away. So.
We've got some in the chat already, but we won't put those up just quite now. but only because we're trying to be positive about a positive result and the fact that we've moved forward in a cup run. I appreciate people's opinions. But, you know, the first half, the game, I watched the first half with a Leeds fan, and when he saw his lineup, with the exception of, is he a Brazilian or, with the exception of one first team player. Sorry, what's that, Trev?
It's no good asking me, mate. I wouldn't know.
Yeah. With the exception of one first team player, that was the strongest side they could put out, and he had a niggle. And they did give us a game, Trev, in the first half. at the end, I think the stats were about ish 50-50 there, 3 shots on Rafina. That's the one. Thank you, James. With the exception of Rafina, they had the stronger side that they could put out, and I think they had 3 shots on target against our 1 or none, depending on which website you looked at. What did you make of that first half, Trev?
Well, they came to play Leeds, didn't they? And they knew they had a chance, and they knew that if they put pressure on us, that we were playing players that in the past have buckled under that pressure, and unfortunately we didn't. Unfortunately, we had Leno behind them, made a couple of fine saves, and kept us in the game. So yeah, Leeds played how I expected. Leeds always have a lift because they bring thousands of fans with them. Well done to all the thousands of Leeds fans that made the trip down to the Emirates on a Wednesday night last night as well. Brilliant turn up. I hope you really enjoyed your cup final, Leeds. Now we move on, But it was on a serious note. They do bring a huge support, and that's going to lift Leeds players. Unbelievably. We've had the Arsenal players saying to us this season about how much the improved atmosphere at the Emirates has lifted them, and it's no doubt that Leeds fans did that last night. So they came to play Leeds, and they weren't scared to play, and they played up the pitch. They were in no way defensive. They came to beat us fair and square, and I don't think we rode our luck a bit first half, excuse me. But you couldn't say we were the best team because we weren't. So and we got to half time 0-0, and strangely, I think Leeds must have won the toss last night because we kicked away from the North Bank second half, and if we win the toss, we always kick towards the North Bank second half, I think. So, we got to half time, and at half time, I thought, I expected, us to come on stronger in the second half, much like we did last time we played Leeds in the FA Cup. Do you remember? I mean, it was worse than last night in the first half. Leeds should have been gone in at half time at 5-0 up when we played them in the FA Cup, and we came out second half, turned it around and nicked to 1-0, and I was hoping we'd do the same last night, and that's how it turned out, Fergus. No worries second half. First half, thought we could have been 1 or 2 down at half time, if we're honest. Second half, couldn't see us losing it, mate.
And if we look at that even in the first half, Amanda, the centre-backs, Ben White and Holding, they kept on pushing forward and really trying to break the lines of the midfield. It seemed like a really a unique tactic, because El Neni and Cole dropped back to cover their positions, and there was always one centre-back just trying to punch through. What did you make of that tactic? Is that something unusual that you've not seen before? And do you think, is Arteta trying to start getting a bit clever?
I just think he obviously looked at Leeds and thought they could do that. You could break the lines and just go for it. I mean, at one point, I think was it Ben White, or was he injured at that time? One of our defenders was so far up the pitch, I was like, okay, what's going on? But
Ben White was on the edge of the D.
It was Ben, wasn't it? I was like, well, I do like that, because it gives us some, I can't think of the word. It gives us a little bit of more of punch in midfield. And I think what happened first half was completely different in the second half. And he obviously had words with people in the changing room, and it completely changed second half, and it was all us. I feel that sometimes when they go on those runs, good on them. I'm probably a little bit, like Kevin Keegan used to win games 4-3. I'm a bit like that. I'd rather see that. Go for it. Don't sit back. Don't be so cautious.
Who was Keegan, Princess? I can't remember Keegan. Who was he?
Kevin Keegan.
Before my time, maybe, was it?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, whatever.
Listen, Fergus, don't move on from this, because Heath's point's really important. I had it in my mind. I've got it written down here to mention. The Princess just led us into it nicely. I thought that Holding played more in the Ben White style last night. I think maybe he's looked at Ben White and thought, I can do this. Mm-hmm. And I thought Holding made more forward runs last night with the ball at his feet. I've probably seen him doing the whole of his Arsenal career. He did. To me, he looked a different player last night, Rob Holding. Yeah, absolutely.
And we go into the second half, and I must admit, we had to substitute Ben White because of, as we thought at the time, was an injury, but it has turned out to be illness. But hopefully the guy's good enough for Leicester. It's an early kickoff on Saturday, which we'll talk about. And Chambers came on, and if I'm honest, I looked and I thought, Christ, we got Chambers and Holding on the pitch. How far are we gone back? And we got Kalashniak and so on. But Holding was on 23 seconds, Amanda. 23 seconds.
Chambers, not Holding. Chambers was on 23. You're so knackered, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
Do you know what I love?
Do you want to take over?
Me and Hills here just have a chat.
Don't give me excuses, Princess. Don't give me. You know why I'm laughing here? Because I'm just watching. I'm watching as we go, right? And when we're on Facebook, we have these auto-generated subtitles, don't we? And even the subtitles are even now saying Kalashniak. They're even coming up with the stuff. It's Kalashniak.
That's what I said.
Funny.
Unbelievable.
So Chambers.
The subtitles are the Fergus language.
So Chambers come on, and 23 minutes later, 23 seconds later.
Oh
even,
my God! Do you know I need to host this tonight? You too. What are you like? Yes.
Right,
23 seconds later, he heads home from a Pepe assist. He did. Where's he gone?
He's gone. Princess, just talk. We can talk now. He's gone.
We can just talk. Yes. So Chambers came on, and well, I mean, listen. We all love Chambers. So he isn't world class. Absolutely not. I tell you, here he's back again. But you know what? I just love the fact that he just wants to play for Arsenal, and he tries so hard, and the fact that he got that goal, and every part of the coaching staff, the subs, the players went for him because it was 23 seconds. We watched it back, didn't we? They showed us exactly that. And yes, Pepe didn't play so well yesterday, but he assisted him. So I loved it. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, to be honest.
Yeah.
To be honest, I thought Pepe was a very lame one-legged donkey myself.
I've been hopeful that Pepe is gonna suddenly find his form for a long time now, but last night's performance does worry me greatly. I mean, the one time he did beat the player and looked like he was going to run towards the box, he tackled himself and fell over his own feet, didn't he? The poor bloke, So he's getting no rub of the green, but he is worrying me, boys and girls. Worrying me greatly now, Pepe.
Do you know what it is? I think he's got it. I think he's really got it. But it's just not coming out in the way we expected. But he's not getting a lot of game time as well. That he needs more consistency with him. It's always been like that. But I am concerned. Me and Kev stood up for him for many, many games. And he has got it. But yeah, last night wasn't very good. That's for sure.
No.
Comments like Bambi on ice.
Nobby's right. I keep waiting for Pepe to hit some sort of form. That's exactly what I'm like.
You see, Heath's made a good comment there, isn't he, about the tactical coach, and I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But
we can talk about that now because, to be honest, that corner come from that goal come from a set piece. So and it's set piece. Coaching seems to have worked really well. Defensive coaching has worked really well. We don't seem to do so much of the zonal marking to the same extent as we did under Emery, Freddie, and Wenger. Trev, you brought it up. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I do. It excites me, Fergus, because every time we get a set piece, we must open a box somewhere in the tunnel, and this bloke jumps out and runs to the touchline, doesn't he? And he's the tactical coach, or the set piece coach. And we've scored more goals from set pieces this season than I can remember. And that's why they're running to him and they're celebrating. And because, as Princess just said, I bet the tactical coach said to Chambers, go on there and score first touch. He's a corner. You're a biggish fella. Get your head on it. And that's exactly what he did. So our set pieces, defensively and attacking, have been totally different. Much improved. I know we are now a bigger and more physical side than we have been for many, many years. So that's got to help with your set pieces, defending and attacking. but we just seem to be more organised, more confident, and we're scoring goals from set pieces. I love it, mate. We're much better. Keep him there. Whoever this set piece coach is, keep him there. Doing a blinding job.
Amanda, what's your thoughts on how we've improved on set pieces? If you go back a couple of seasons back, we get a corner and you just go, oh, well, there's no point in even watching.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at your phone.
Yeah, we'd always be like, oh, it's a corner. I'm a little bit, I agree with Hilsey. And I just think gradually everything's getting better, but it's quite slow. Yeah. And the problem is a lot of fans are very impatient. And a lot of fans that didn't want him in at the beginning don't want him in now. I do feel, I know we said we're not going to really talk about the Arteta situation, but it's coming and it's gradual. We could be worse. We could have Solskjaer in charge of us. We've got what happened on Sunday to them. I just feel that everything is slightly improving, but will he be given time? I don't know.
Amanda, you look at the Solskjaer situation and what happened to them on Sunday. Could you see that same scenario happening to Arsenal against Liverpool?
No, because they wouldn't have signed Ronaldo. We wouldn't get someone like that. And I think he's changed it, if I'm honest. I don't think that was Solskjaer's choice, if I'm honest. And can you imagine how he must feel being manager and you've got him there? It's very hard. I don't think he's up to the job. Well. Sorry?
You got Fergie looming over the top as well.
Exactly. I wouldn't want Wenger sitting behind Arteta. It's the same thing. I just feel it's very unfair. Solskjaer in charge. I mean, like Man United, as we all know, is a humongous club. They have won titles after titles, and they've won the European League.
Yeah.
It's not going to work for him. I can't believe he's still there after what happened on Sunday. And not only losing 5-0, it's like us losing 5-0 to Tottenham. I mean, I laughed, obviously, and I've got loads of Scouse mates that were there. But I look at him and I think that we are slightly lucky to have Arteta. And I feel he deserves some more appreciation than he gets. It's taken it off him because of Solskjaer. We didn't do too well against Brighton or really Palace. But we are where we are. And I just wanted to mention this, we are on the same points as United, Everton and Leicester. We're going to talk about Leicester in a second, yeah? 9 games played, 4 wins, 2 draws, 3 losses. That's the 4 of us, exactly the same. The only reason we're below all of them is because of our goal difference. That's unbelievable to have exactly the same. United, Everton, Leicester and us. Now, 10 years ago, if we would have said that, we would have been disgusted, wouldn't we? That we're like, we're 9th, 10th? But we are where we are and we're trying to climb. And I think, given confidence last night, I know we're going to talk about Eddie in a moment, but I think it's hard for me because I really am a massive supporter of Arteta. And I do believe if he's given time, we will get better. You look at honestly, did anyone think Solskjaer wouldn't have been gone Monday morning?
No.
A lot of my family live in the area and are season ticket holders at Man United, my in-laws. And every one of them thought that Solskjaer would be gone Monday morning.
When they called the meeting and he was in it and then asked to leave, I thought he's gone. We get an announcement. Why are they keeping him?
Who knows?
You know what? I do think sometimes I think it's probably lining up the new manager, but without going into too much about the Oli thing, Trev, the last one on that one is Kai's mentioned in the chat, which is I wanted to go back to, was Oli finished 6th, 3rd and 2nd for United, progression every season. And then
just
Kai
not this season, though.
No, Kai is an avid
Arteta
out sort of guy. So how do you respond to that? And listen, we're not trying to pick an agenda here that this is an Arteta in thing. I personally think that Arteta is okay for now. I don't think it's a long-term solution. But we're in a rebuild, so that's what we need at this moment in time. Trev?
Oh, cheers. Chuck that one on me. No, Kai's right, Kai's... But we can't help where we are on here tonight, Kai. I've got no problem with Arteta. The Princess hasn't. And and Fergus hasn't. So that's how it's going to go, mate. I understand people in recently of not wanting to stick with Arteta. Some of his selections, up until probably 5 or 6 games ago, baffled me week in and week out. You know, I thought, well, why?
They were questionable. I can't deny that. Yeah.
They were questionable, and people had a right to. I questioned them myself. I've said it on this podcast. But having said that, what you've got to look at is that the team that I said this before as well. The team that played against Manchester City and got beat, the back 5 that played in that game, none of them are now playing for the Arsenal week in, week out.
Last night. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm talking about our league team, Fergus, right? I'm talking about the team he pulled out, his favourite team. None of that back 5 from that game against Manchester City are playing in the last few Premier League games, right? The goalkeeper's changed, the back 4 have changed. And so Arteta is thinking we need to make changes. But as the Princess just said, right, his hands are tied. He had injuries when he wanted to move forward, you know. And so, and he never in a million years would Arteta have guessed that his main problem this season would be not being able to score goals. When he got his proper back 5, I'm not talking about when we got beaten heavily by Manchester City. I'm talking about he got his proper back 5. We've not let in many goals since then. We've actually gone unbeaten since then. But we've drawn games, i.e. Brighton and Burnley, that if we'd have had a striker on form, and I'm being careful here because I'm not calling Aubameyang here, if we'd have had a striker on form, we'd have won them games. We'd have won at Brighton. It would have been a typical Arsenal hit squad at Brighton. Defend, crap weather, horrible day, last 10 minutes nick a goal. And we would have nicked a goal at Burnley as well. So that's where Arteta has my sympathy, and that's why I wouldn't call for him to go. And you see, we're a team of ups and downs. We've got a very young squad. We've said that before. And you're not going to get consistency. But what I'm looking for is the consistency, the inconsistent performances, the poorer performances to become less, and the better performances to become much more regular as this team develops. And that is why I'm looking at this game against Leicester. Princess and myself spoke briefly before we came on air. This game against Leicester, for me, is a massive indicator of where we are, because if we go on form, we've had a blinding performance against Villa. We've done all right against Leeds. If we go on form, we're not going to turn up against Leicester this weekend and we're going to get beaten. It's going to be like a different side. Same players, but different side. This is where I'm looking for change. I'm looking for the consistency. I want to see us go out against Leicester this weekend. Play like we did against Villa. You know,
I agree totally, and we'll cover that in a little bit more depth as well. And also, I want to touch on Dan Gunning's question in there. Just finishing off on the Leeds game, Eddie Nketiah, how he brought that ball down, Princess, was fantastic. But how he tried not to score a goal was just unreal. I was on a WhatsApp chat, and Big Steve, friend of the show as well, come along, went excellent finish. And I'm sorry, Steve, I'm calling you out. I did last week a couple of times on a few things, but it's all friendly. But you said excellent finish, and it wasn't an excellent finish. It was a great control of the ball, great ingenuity to try and get into that position. But Christ, did he try and mess it up?
I thought it was a good finish. I didn't see it like that. I mean, it took ages to go in, and I was like, Eddie Nketiah scored just, but I didn't think it was a bad finish at all. I'm really pleased for him because he works really hard.
I thought the third blade on the grass, blade of grass on the pitch, got an assist because the ball was gone everywhere. It came off his shin. And Trev, what did you think of that?
You don't read it right, Fergus. You don't read the game right. You see, you saw that defender coming, so he shinned it with a bit of spin on, which took it round and went in the far post, didn't it? Fantastic. Well planned. If it had been hard, the defender might have blocked it, you know? Absolute rubbish. He brought it down brilliantly and he nearly messed it up, didn't he? But he shinned it in. It don't matter, you know.
It all counts.
You know what we've not talked about, though, Ferg, mate, and Princess, we've not talked about is that, you know, the first goal, right? I had no idea that goal line technology was in use. And I'm sitting there thinking about 10 seconds, 15 seconds later, he's not give that. And of course, suddenly he pointed at his watch and gave it, but I didn't have a clue that goal line.
Yeah, what's not news at that stage of the competition is VAR, but goal line technology is available on all league.
That's standard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's standard. So it's the VAR is not available lower down the leagues. That's all.
So what happens is, something beeps on his watch or in his ear?
He's got a watch. They got Hawkeye on. They got, you know, all those little white cameras you see, that funny dodgy cameras right around the stadium, just underneath all the club level.
Right.
They're pointed towards the goal. There's 7 cameras on it on the goal line.
So it's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously watching it at home, you can't tell if it's in, but the reaction of the Arsenal players, I knew it was in. Because everyone went mental, didn't they? Everyone said it's in, and you would not have got that reaction. So I wasn't worried at all. As soon as he went like that and he stopped, I knew it was going to be called. And then obviously it was way over, wasn't it?
To be honest, he took his time on the watch, because the watch is meant to be instant. So I don't know. Listen, another player that we haven't touched on before we move on from that game is Martinelli. Martinelli didn't have a fantastic game. Was he played? I'll go to you, Amanda, first of all. Was he played in his best position? Would how do you get the best out of Martinelli? For me, and I'll just say my position on him, I don't think he's getting enough game time. And then when he did get brought on the other night against Palace, he was left stranded and not assisted by any of his players on the pitch. So I feel a little bit sorry for him then. But he was given the opportunity last night, and he didn't really grasp it, did he?
So against Palace, when he came on, I watched him and no one passed to him. And I could see him screaming at the team for the ball. I was
there as well.
Yeah. So you know what I mean, Fergus, don't you? And I was watching it thinking, why are they not passing to him? What's going on here? He was screaming. He was in great positions. I noticed that. But he does need, as Zam has just said, Samir, he does need a run of games. And this is the only question I've got with Arteta, is Aubameyang. It's very hard, isn't it? Because he has started to score a little bit. But I do feel that, I don't know, I think if you looked at Martinelli last night, you think this is why he's not playing, because he's not good enough. Where do you think his best position is, Ferg?
Well, is he out in the wing? But the problem is, I think that the problem you've got with Martinelli and Aubameyang is they cross over and clash with each other. So if you've got Martinelli, I think he's great he's better in the centre than Aubameyang is. But if you put Aubameyang in the centre, then you get a better Martinelli, and Aubameyang's not good enough in the centre. And that's my thoughts.
What about you, Hilsey?
What, Martinelli's best position?
Love when she takes over hosting. Oh,
on the bench.
So powerful. No, it's right. It's all right. I'm joking.
I'm just so used to.
You can't help it. I do the same on others.
I never hosted much before anyway, as you know, but I did way before the hybrid squad.
Yeah, God.
Martinelli's best position at the moment on the bench, because he can't play on the same side as Aubameyang. He's too similar. I loved the setup with Laka playing just behind Aubameyang. I really did. And we've tried that before and it didn't work, but I'm thinking when we tried it before, we didn't have Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe feeding, and I thought it worked really well with Saka. And he's gone again, Princess. It's much nicer when he's
he's here, but he's not in the video or whatever. Come on.
Listening. No, I like it with a Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe playing with Laka as a 10 just behind Alba. I enjoyed watching that formation. I enjoyed it very much.
I love Lacazette.
Yeah, I do, Princess. I just wish, right, because I love his attitude, I just wish he was about 6 inches taller, because I think he would then be your perfect centre forward. I just want him to have a bit more size about him. But when he comes on, he just tries, Princess. He never stops trying his effort levels. And that's all I ever ask for.
Incredible.
So I like that. I really like that.
Do you know what we need, Hilsey? We need the mix of Aubameyang and Lacazette. We'd have a world-class player.
Yeah, we would.
Could you imagine?
But do you know what, Princess? I think that take Lacazette out of it for a minute, because I've been screaming out for us to buy a big, bulky centre forward. You know what I mean? A big lump, big scary lump. Your Calvert-Lewin or something of that like. A big fella. And I think that Aubameyang could still play in that side with that type of centre forward. And it may even make Aubameyang a better player because you'd have this great big bloke in the box or holding the ball up, which Aubameyang doesn't get at the moment. And all he needs is the layoffs, Aubameyang, to come in. He loves coming in from wide. So, yeah, I like Lacquer in the side, but I think we could get better and younger maybe. So being careful what I say because I don't want anyone to think I'm having a go at Lacquer. And what Heath has said again, the kids love Lacquer.
Oh, they do. He's the glue with the kids, I'm telling you.
Yeah, the kids love playing with him. I can remember an interview that Gary Neville did.
We played Leeds, by the way, Jimmy Savile.
Gary Neville. Fergus, stop it. Gary Neville did an interview with Smith Rowe last season, and he was fishing for some answers. And Smith Rowe just said, I love playing with Lacazette. It's just that experience that I need. Brilliant, fantastic. Yeah,
just talking about Smith Rowe. Friday night, I'm assuming you two were at the game against Villa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, see, I wasn't very well. It's the first game I've missed in so many years, but I just didn't feel up to it. So I watched the whole programme from 7 o'clock all the way through right to the very end till 10:30. It was so enjoyable because I'll tell you something. I think Jamie Carragher is absolutely in love with Emil Smith Rowe. He. I can't explain if you haven't seen the programme how intricate he was about talking about Smith Rowe and how excited he is about him as a player. And it was so interesting. It was like he was playing for Liverpool, Smith Rowe, because the way he was talking about him. And then afterwards, when you wouldn't have seen it post-match, the interview with Smith Rowe, we are so lucky to have Emil Smith Rowe.
Oh, he's red and white through and through.
I don't think people really, really understand. I saw people criticising him a few weeks ago. I can't understand it. I just can't.
Yeah.
But the programme was so interesting, and they talked to Arteta after as well. But beforehand, Clive, I can't remember his AFC, and Gunner Blog were interviewed as well with Pippa from AFTV in the Marble Halls. And
I saw that, yeah.
It was so fabulous. And the reason I'm just saying this is we don't get to see that when we're at the Emirates. We just get to see the game, come home quick and watch the highlights or something. But being at home watching it, of course I wanted to be there. I wasn't well enough, so I sat and watched it. I really, really enjoyed the programme. But they were raving about Smith Rowe, and Neville was as well. And it was so lovely to watch.
Princess, I'll tell you what I normally do when I've been to a game. The following morning, I watch it back on the missus tapes it, and I watch the full game back. But
yeah,
I started watching the build up. Normally, I fast forward, and I thought, hang on a minute, they're being nice here about Arsenal, and so I watched it all. I watched the aftermatch interviews, and it's a great indicator of where we are, because Neville and Carragher being really nice about the Arsenal has never been heard of.
Carragher was raving about us, and also Neville said about Arteta, didn't he? Maybe I was wrong to jump so quickly. But we're very lucky to have ESR and Saka. We are. And I just wish all Arsenal fans would come together. It don't matter if you want him out or in. We just want Arsenal to win every single game. That's it. And it was just lovely to hear.
If any Arsenal fan wants Smith Rowe out, or Fergus, listen.
No, 2 seconds, Trev. 2 seconds. It's only because...
Listen, if any Arsenal fan...
He's tired, Hilsey. Leave him alone.
I'm temperamental now as well.
He's got PMT.
It's only because the way that Amanda mentioned, like people wanting Arteta out and people talking about Smith Rowe and saying how poor he was. Yes, people talked about other players, including Pepe and Martinelli on social media. Pepe and Martinelli didn't have the best games going. ESR, he was played in, as I now find, because you told us from listening on Sky Sports that he was played because there was other players that were ill. But social media and the way the social media plays a role against building this hatred against players and building this hatred against managers and so on. There's got to be something done about it, Trev, hasn't there?
I don't think that yet. I mean, social media does need to clean its act up or some of the stuff, but I don't think anyone's been really horrible about Smith Rowe. But they have said some shocked me, some things that have shocked me. And To be honest with you, or if you're making a judgment on Smith Rowe, just take yourself back to when you was in your late teens, early 20s, and tell me there wasn't a time when you went to work or you went out and didn't perform to the best of your ability or had a bad day because of a bit of inexperience and you learned from that and you never did it again. That's what Smith Rowe's doing now. He's going to have games where he don't show up so much. He's going to come up against world-class players that are going to possibly play him off the park at times. But Smith Rowe's going to learn from that. And he's going to come back better, as we're seeing now. It's absolutely a class act now. 5 years' time, the world's his oyster.
Oh, absolutely.
I'd give him a 10-year tomorrow.
Him and Saka, they're like the world will be their lobster, as I use as a phrase.
I say that.
Yeah, it's an Essex thing, I think. The player who I also criticise heavily and have done, I'm not a big fan, had a really good game. On some social media platforms, he was voted man of the match. Some went for Maitland-Niles, some went for Leno. Leno had a great game. Maitland-Niles had a solid game. Amanda, your thoughts on both of those players as we finish up on the Leeds game, and off those two players or somebody else, who would you put as man of the match?
Oh, mine was Ainsley, but Leno came a close second. I love the fact that he came out and played so well, considering he was first choice. Now he's not first choice. Came out, played very well. Did save us a bit, actually. Ainsley Maitland-Niles was my man of the match. And I just felt he played so well last night. So commanding. I do like him as a player. I wish we could fit him in somewhere, but so be it. But yeah, Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
Trev, your thoughts on those two players? I know we chatted briefly earlier today on and you know my feelings on Leno. I was one of the very early critics of Leno in his great shot stopping, but his distribution and his punching onto the penalty spot always frustrated me heavily. I thought he had a great game, made some great saves. One particular in the first half where I thought, oh Christ, that's a goal. But who would you rate higher? Him, Maitland-Niles, Eddie Nketiah for getting that goal, for pulling the ball out of the air?
Right at the top of the show, right at the very top of the show, Princess was talking about how these players that have been dropped, that we've not heard from them, they've not been screaming and shouting and making a noise. They've just taken what they've got to take and doing their best. And I thought that Leno and Maitland-Niles in particular, and some of the others last night, you can say Kolasinac, and we know he's not very good, but he's never moaned, never made a noise. Same with Eddie, So I was really pleased with the effort from them last night, because they're not forced to make that effort. They could get the sulks and just turn off. I thought that Maitland-Niles had a brilliant performance, but I just gave it to Leno. And I gave it to Leno because he's got the most to lose. He's an international goalkeeper for Germany, and he's lost his place in his team. And he's got a lot to lose. And he went out last night and he could have gone two ways. It could have been don't give a damn, or it could have been I'm going to put myself in the shop window. Yeah. And he certainly put himself in the shop window last night. And much as I said about Holding playing like White, I thought that Leno's passing the ball out from the back was a lot better last night. He played that straightforward ball up the field, it not to the wide, to the middle, to feet. I thought he played that really well, and his all-round game looked really good. So for me, it was Leno. It was just Leno last night, mate. Okay.
So we're into the quarterfinal. The draw is at 10:30 on Saturday. The weird times for this draw in the Carabo Cup is...
10:30 in the morning?
Yeah. 10:30 in the morning before 2 hours before the Leicester game. We find out who we got in the quarterfinals. I don't know. We got Chelsea. We got there's a few. You got the chances of Burnley or Tottenham. Leicester are winning at the moment against Brighton. You got Liverpool pressing North End. You got Brentford, Stoke City, West Ham, Man City, and then yesterday there was ourselves. Chelsea went through and Sunderland went through. If you were to choose between Chelsea, Sunderland and the other teams are listed who are
Preston
in
play
which
Liverpool
is-
tonight, don't they?
Yes,
Yeah,
nil
they're
Princess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 0-0 as we stand.
Yeah.
Who would you want in the next round then? Princess first, ladies first as always, because we're polite in this.
Well, when our game finished, it went straight on to Chelsea, Southampton, the penalties and everything. And as Chelsea won it, I looked at my other half and went, "We're going to get the chavs. I can just see it. We're going to give the chavs." But like Zamir, funny enough, I'd love to get Spurs because I think it would just be amazing. I think we all really want Spurs. I mean, yeah. But I don't want Liverpool, definitely, or
Trev?
Chelsea. I don't want them.
Well, do you know, Fergus, we'll be all right on Saturday watching the draw because we'll be in a boozer in Leicester Saturday morning, won't we? And we can watch it with
I'll
an
be
early
on
morning
Diet Coke. I'm
Guinness
driving.
Well, you can buy me a pint of Guinness and I'll drink yours for you then. Do you know what I really fancy? I don't want to draw Spurs because I want to meet. We've never met Spurs in a cup final. I'd love to meet
No, we can't do that.
Oh,
no,
Trev,
Hillsy, never. No.
I want to turn them over in a final. I want to turn them over in a final.
Never. Never in my lifetime or your lifetime. Well, 1971. No, it wasn't even then, was it? We won the double at them. No, I never, ever, ever.
Yeah,
I swear, I don't know if I'd be able to go to a final or not if we played Spurs.
Really? God, I couldn't wait. I'd be there like a shot. But I'd really like. I've not been for years, so I fancy a trip to Sunderland next round. Sunderland.
I've never been.
It's got to be the 20. It's got to be the 21st or 22nd of December. So what's that? That's
oh my! Is it?
Yeah.
Yes, a couple of days before Christmas. Well, it's interesting because we're meant to have Leeds away on the 20th, aren't we?
Well, that'll
18th,
change then, won't it?
18th. We've booked the hotels as well, Trev.
Have I booked the wrong date again? I
No,
did that.
it's the 18th.
It's
I
the
don't know
18th.
what. I'm not going to look.
Who are
at your book
Spurs
right now.
playing? Are they playing tonight in the league?
Burnley away, so they're going to lose.
They probably lose, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And that will lead us into something that we want to talk about, don't we, Fergus? About them getting battered everywhere they go.
You two, wait a minute. You've got to let me in here.
Go on, Hillsy. Go on.
Sorry. I've got to put my foot down. Listen, I don't want Spurs to get to the final. I want them to lose every game they play, right? But the one thing I like, there's two things I want to see in my lifetime. I want to see us win the Champions League, which I can't see happening now. I think we had our chances. And secondly, I want us to beat Spurs in every single game possible. And if that happened to be a final, then so be it. I'll take it every day, you know. But don't take me wrong. I don't want Spurs to get to the final. But ideally, I'd love to see us beat them in a final. Yeah,
go away, you. I couldn't cope with them in a final. I'd feel sick.
So Hillsy wants Spurs and you want Chelsea, did you say? Or
No.
You expect
Tottenham.
Chelsea. Tottenham. Okay. Myself, I wouldn't mind if West Ham can beat Man City. That takes them out of the Man City Cup, which it has been for the last 3 or 4 years. I wouldn't mind Man City away. West Ham away. I told you I'm tired. And what's that?
You're just being selfish because it's a short journey for you.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind West Ham away. It's about 20 minutes.
Yes, exactly. I could jump in the tube. 25 minutes. Less than that. 20 minutes with walking. 25 minutes. Perfect. Listen, Gooner Ross puts a good question in the chat. He says, "How good is the atmosphere? Why is the atmosphere so good at home now?" But we'll talk about that. And we have talked about that in a few of the other podcasts. But one topic that was given to me by Nick Birch on Facebook before was, why do we sing so many Tottenham songs? In particular, Stand Up If You Hate Tottenham. What do you think of Tottenham? Tottenham get battered. I quite like that one actually because it's quite current and I like that everywhere they go it goes around the ground and so on. I do quite like that. But why are we singing so many Tottenham songs when we're playing Crystal Palace, when we're playing Villa?
Are we going to answer Gooner Ross's question, or are we going to start doing
we're going to answer the question, the topic about the Spurs song, and then we'll go into the atmosphere there afterwards. So we will do Gooner Ross's.
Okay, so the Spurs thing is probably more because we beat them. Okay, and they're our rivals. Interestingly, I've always had this chat with my northern friends, City, United, Liverpool. They don't get it. They wouldn't sing about another team, well, my Liverpool lot, unless they were playing them. So they never understand. And I said, well, we always have. Funny enough, what Heath has just said, because we always have, is exactly right. It's something when I went mid-70s, the late 70s, we always sung about Tottenham. We never sung about anybody else unless we were playing them. And it is true, it's because we hate them. I don't like the stand up if you hate Tottenham because I can't be asked to get up. I just want to watch the game. I don't think we sing too many songs, but I just think we should stick to one, which is They Get Battered Everywhere They Go, because it's brilliant.
Sorry, I chucked myself out of the studio for a second. Go on, Trev. What's your thoughts on that then?
Fergus, you know my thought on it, mate. I find it boring and annoying. No, I wouldn't mind them singing.
And you do verbally express that, especially outside Block 5.
Well, at Palace at home, I'd had a few beers, right? And there was a group of lads standing behind us, wasn't there? And for about the 10th time in about 5 minutes, one of them shouted out, "What do you think of Tottenham?" And I just turned around and I said, "Mate, knock it on the head. We're playing Palace. It's getting a bit much now, you know what I mean? I don't mind us singing about Tottenham every game, but not every minute of every game. Do it once a game.
We're not. Sorry, Hilsey. Well, we haven't got many decent songs. That's the problem. When you listen to other clubs, they have, and we don't have many decent. The Vieira was one of the best ones, wasn't it? But we just don't have that many decent songs, really.
And to answer Gooner Ross's question about the atmosphere, why has it improved? We have talked about it several times before. So, Gooner Ross, really and truly, you need to go back through our back catalogue to find out the answer to your question. But for you, because you're back, watch us again. We will discuss it. And I think the reason some of it is some of the old timers. And I don't include Trev in this because he's stuck with us. Some of the old timers who've had their debenture tickets and their season tickets over the years have, for whatever reason, be it due to COVID, due to affordability, or due to just apathy, surrendered their season tickets for a year or permanently. There's many new 1-year season tickets with the priority bumped up the list. And they're joining in the North Bank Upper. Amanda, it's right above your head and ours. The North Bank Upper. I've never heard it so lively in all my 11 years of being a season ticket at the stadium. Look. And I think. Sorry, you come in 2 seconds. I think it's also there's an element of the COVID and not being back and so on, but it's also a little bit of siege mentality as well. Go on, Amanda.
Well, I do think. A lot of it is COVID and the fact that we took it all for granted and then it was taken away from us for a very long time. We've all gone back and the team, I think a lot of it is because we want to support the team. If you noticed last night, there was a lot of kids in there last night. It changes the atmosphere so much better.
It does.
I sit East Stand Upper, so I didn't notice the North Bank Upper, but I noticed the East Stand Upper was singing and we don't often do that. Some of us do, but not a lot. And you find that I think we're trying to get behind the team. The atmosphere is definitely better all the way around the ground, the stadium, sorry. And I just feel that maybe we're just trying to support the team a little bit more. It does help. We need to be the 12th man. All the time we need to be the 12th man.
We've not been
I personally
we've
feel
not been
because
the most vocal side in the world, have we?
No, never. But we're starting to get a little bit more. I remember being you were in the city end. I was to the left of you, and you lot didn't stop singing. It was unbelievable, and we were losing. We were terrible. So, I mean, away games is phenomenal. It doesn't stop the whole time. It doesn't stop, even if we're losing or winning. But I do feel COVID's got a lot to play. A lot of the reason why I sit there sometimes, and I'm so excited to be back that I start singing a lot more than I used to. So it could be that reason.
Trev, your thoughts on it? I know we've touched on it before, so briefly, because I want to do the Leicester game and some other bits.
Yeah. Well, Fergus, I think it's a mixture of a few things. We've covered a lot of them, but there's no doubt. They say that fans lift players, but players lift fans as well.
Yeah,
players lift fans, Ferguson, and this season in particular, we've now got a few players that really give you the feeling they're playing for the shirt. They want to be out there. Ramsdale,
Yes.
Gabriel, and then we've got the youngsters. Smith Rowe, when he celebrates his goal, my God, is he happy at scoring for the Arsenal? Smith Rowe, Saka, Laka. We've got these players now that are showing real heart and real passion for our football club. And that lifts the fans, Yeah, there you go. Exactly that, Exactly that. And of course,
doesn't even look like him in that picture.
No. But then you've got the added compliment of the fact that beers are 2-for-1 before the game. So everyone suffers a lot more. Although that's stopped now. Last night was the last night. So there's no more 2-for-1 beers before games, I've been told. But all the things you just said, plus the fact the players are lifting the fans, And who's not going to... When did you last see us? Like, we tore Tottenham apart in the first half. We tore Villa apart in the first half. We've not had football like that to cheer for a long time, Of course, it's going to raise the fans, It's going to raise fans. And what Princess said about the away support is exactly right. I go to nearly every away game, and we're never short of a noise. Always making a noise.
Trev, I agree totally, and you talk about first half performances, but I think those first half performances are getting extended further. We touched on it about the Villa performance in comparison to the Tottenham performance. The Tottenham performance, we performed for 35 to 45 minutes. The Villa performance against a better performing side, because I thought Villa were better than Tottenham, we performed for 75, 85 minutes. So, it's good to see that. Moving on to Leicester, it's a massive game when it comes to judging that progress.
Yeah.
Trev, we're up there. I'm meeting you. Thankfully, you sorted me out a ticket, and we're meeting up with a few of the lads. It's an early kickoff. You'll be drunk before the draw starts. We'll watch the draw.
Fergus, I won't be. I'm not starting too early, right? I'm getting a Wetherspoons in Leicester at 9 a.m. All right, 9 a.m.
9 a.m.
for the draw.
I'll be in Wetherspoons in Leicester, the Call Exchange, I think it's called, at 9 a.m. I'm having a big Wetherspoons breakfast to line the stomach and a couple of pints of Guinness. Then hopefully by that time, my good friend Fergus will be there and a few others, and we'll be there for the early kickoff. It is Fergus, Leicester for me this week. It's a great game to judge our progress. Leicester are a decent side, but they're not a side we shouldn't be beating if we play to our best form. Now, if we go as we have done in the past, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, we're due to not turn up against Leicester. So what I need is to see us actually turn up, play our best football. And if we do that, right, we don't lose to Leicester. If we turn up and play, if we play the same team that we did against Villa, Laka and Albert through the middle and Saka and Smith Rowe up the wings, what are we doing when we do that? I've got no room for Pepe in my side. I've got no room for Odegaard in my side. But when we play Saka and Smith Rowe out wide and Laka and Albert through the middle, we've got 3 points where we can drive up the field. In years gone by, we've either been good on the left or good on the right, But now teams, when we're all playing like that, they don't know how to defend against us because the threats are all over the park. And that's what I want to see this Saturday from the Arsenal. I want to see the same side, the same effort. And if we play it to our best, we'll beat Leicester. I'm confident of it. But we've got to play to our best.
Amanda, Trevor talks about inconsistencies. We got players that are developing along the way. And Trevor mentions if we go along our normal form, we have an okay game, a good game, an okay game, quite good game, and then an awful game. And we're due an awful game against Leicester.
Oh, don't say that.
No. But I'm trying to but what Trevor's trying to say, and I'm also trying to get into the thing about the inconsistency. We're starting to gain some consistency. We're starting to see we had poor performances before, but we're seeing fewer poor performances as the players develop. And how do you see? Like 12-30 kickoffs are always.
I was just about to say.
Anyway.
Always awful. I think we're going to get.
Drab.
It'll be a dull, drab 2-2 draw. Sorry, 1-1 draw, not 2-2. Yeah, I mean, they've not been good this season, Leicester. Not like they have been over previous seasons, but it's going to make a massive difference.
Amanda, just to pump in on there, you said they've not been good. They were fantastic against Palace in the first half, and then Palace came back and should have won in the second half because I watched that game. Then Man United, they come along and the following week went and they beat Man United 4-2, I think it was. Man United are inconsistent as well.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of inconsistent teams out there. Sorry, carry on. I just want to...
I'm worried about Saturday for a start. 12:30 kickoff. That's all I'm going to say. We're never that good. If it was at the Emirates, I think we'd have more of a chance. I do believe that we're slightly improving. They're not as good as I remember them, as I'm going to say, but we're on the same points. Everything the same with them at the moment. We need to beat them. We need to come out firing big time. I still think it's going to be 1-1 though. I don't think it's going to be a great match. I never like 12:30s with anyone anyway.
I don't like him. The fact I'm driving up and I'll have a pint and he'll probably screw me over for about 4 pints. It's obviously going to be painful, but Trev, the inconsistency and the consistency and the improvement of these players, the lack of we've got less poor performances and more better performances. What's your thoughts on all that sort of concept?
I think that the back five is key. We keep this back five together, and then the inconsistency will start to disappear naturally because they're much better defenders than we've had. Not saying that what we've had in the past has been terrible, but I think this group of players is better. And what's important is that, and I'm banging on about it for a long time, is that he now seems to have got a settled back five. Last few games he's played this, apart from the cup game, obviously, he's played the same back five. And I'm a massive believer that defenders improve if they play together as a unit. Arsenal have shown that in the past. So I think that's the starting point. We've got that back five out against Leicester. We're halfway there to improving the consistency as it is. So it's a 12:30 kickoff. And you know what? The thing that's in my mind the most is nothing to do with the football. It's the fact I've got to be up at 5:15 in the morning to get to Fergus. You know?
He's so funny.
You know, but what we do is we do it because we're Arsenal fans.
Yep.
We like to watch our team. So we do it. And it won't come hard. The back five will be fine. I think that if we play Lokonga and Partey with Smith Rowe and Saka, I honestly think we win the game. It won't be easy because Leicester are not a bad side, but I fancy us for the win on Saturday. But then again, that don't mean a lot, does it? Because I always fancy us for a bloody win. So
stick your neck out and give me a scoreline then.
For Saturday, I can't see. I can't see Leicester scoring. I hate Vardy scoring against us. Can't see Leicester scoring. I can see us 2-0.
Okay.
Amanda, you went 1-1. Is that what you're sticking with?
Yeah. Only because of the time and everything. We don't play well at that time.
I'm going 2-1 to the Arsenal. Heart, not head. But to be honest, you can't call it. Listen, we're going to bring this more or less to a wrap where we are. The Leicester game is our 10th game in the league. It's normally the point that you would say, judge me after the 10th game. You get a clear steer for where your season is going to go. Amanda, you're not going to be on probably next week, or you may well be, depends if you're available. But where would you see us finishing this season?
Oh, that's a hard one, Fergus.
Wow, Fergus.
Oh, sorry.
Fergus, it's bloody October. You want to ask me in about April?
Well,
I couldn't possibly say. Sorry. I'd hope for 4th or 5th because I'm quite positive, but I can see 6th or 7th. But really, ask me March, April time. We'll see.
We will do. But the 10th game is normally the barometer, and it's
Is
only
it?
because of normally the 10th game you can get a feeling of how your season is going.
No, because Arsenal sometimes are crap till December and then brilliant from Jan, or the vice versa. So
I'm not just talking Arsenal. I'm just talking about general football. If you look at the league, you can look in Brighton when the top 4. West Ham could have been top of the league if they'd won one other game. The other that top 8, that first 9 games. So West Ham are never going to win the bloody league while Trevor's alive.
they've done well the last few seasons, though, haven't they?
They have.
Didn't we say that about Leicester? Didn't we say that about Leicester a few
I'm
years
such a
ago?
freak, Hilsey, and you know it.
Yeah, but so would it be if West Ham won it, Look.
If West Ham won it, I'd have to emigrate as well.
Well, could you imagine it round here?
No.
What?
What?
We won the World Cup. We won the World Cup. We won the league.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Jesus. You'll reclaim the World Cup.
Fergus,
Oh, dear. Listen, Amanda.
He's right.
He's got to go again.
Fergus, the princess is right. It is too early to judge.
It's
the
too
season.
early.
I've got to take sides with her. It's too early to judge the season. Before you move on and start closing us off, I've got a couple of things. Firstly, I want to thank someone briefly.
All right, you're welcome.
You're coming up later. Shush up now. Seaborn, a good friend of mine at the Arsenal, South African lad, makes his own biltong. And I said jokingly, Ed, can I have some of your biltong? And he bought me some last week. And by God, it's good biltong, but he puts all this chili on it. Ed, next time I'll have some more, but a little less chili. A little less chili, please, mate. And secondly, Fergus, something, and I just want to discuss this with the princess, right? Because she's quite level-headed, and I want to get her opinion, because we've won these games, and Xhaka's been out injured, right? Right, Xhaka's been out injured. What happens when he's fit again? Where does he go? What do we do? Because I can't make my mind up. The Xhaka that played against Tottenham, I want playing in my football team. But the Xhaka that's played in all the other games around now, I don't want in my football team. So what happens? Does he come back in, Princess? Does he sit on the sidelines? In your opinion, is he good enough?
But weirdly, I still feel we miss him. The Xhaka that played against Tottenham and the Xhaka that plays well with Partey, I still feel we miss him. Does he come straight back in? I don't know. And it depends what time, what game we're playing next, doesn't it? When he's fit. I don't even know. But does he change a winning formation? He has to. I don't know, Hilsey. I feel like he should come back in.
Yeah, no, you're reading my mind now, because does he change a winning formation? This is where I was heading, because we've got two formations that I like to see us play at the moment, right? We play either Partey and Lokonga next to each other, or Lokonga drops out and we play like ESR and Odegaard to a little bit deeper to make like a one in midfield, well, a three, but with two slightly in front of Partey. And that's the two formations I like to see at the moment. And I'm just thinking, does Xhaka, and I'm not calling Xhaka out here, I've done that enough in the past, I don't need to do it now. But does Xhaka upset that apple cart when he comes back? Is there pressure on Arteta to think I've got to play him, or does Arteta stand firm and say, no, you sit on the sidelines for a bit because we're winning games? It's going to be interesting when he's fit.
I think he'll do that, Hilsey. I think he will be a sub and probably come on if we need him. But it does depend who we're playing.
I don't think you can have him as a starter now. Although I think if he didn't get injured, he probably would have been a starter. I think now if you can keep Partey fit, which is a conundrum in itself, you got Lokonga, who, bar the Palace game, has been outstanding in every game he's played. Forward thinking, forward passing. It was amazing actually to watch last night the El Neni just passing the ball backwards, sideways, and it was dire to watch in that first half. And I don't want to see that again. And if Arteta wants to stay in the position he's in, and if Arteta wants to gain the haters back, well then he's got to drop Xhaka, in my view, and he's got to have more forward-thinking players in the likes of Lokonga and so on. Like Dan Gunning's quite true. The Cup of Nations is coming up, and we will lose some players.
Yeah, true.
The African Cup of Nations.
Yeah, so we need him fit for them.
Will we lose Pepe? Will we lose Pepe?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
But we, but we lose. We technically speak, we lose Pepe. We lose
Alba.
We lose Lokonga, and we lose.
When is it? January, isn't it? Normally
January. Yeah, it's 3 weeks in January, and some of us over the FA Cup third round. So you can do a bit of squad rotation. So but nonetheless, it depends how far each club progress. They could be gone for 10 days, which most of us covered. Listen, we've all got commitments. Amanda, thank you very much. We've taken you way beyond the 45 minutes to an hour we said we're going to do. Thank you very much. Let people know how they can follow you and see you jumping on and off various different podcasts, but mostly it's Twitter these days, isn't it?
Yeah, Twitter. Well, I don't even know what I am. Gooner Girl 1969. I forget what I am, to be honest. Instagram. Listen. If you want to follow me on Twitter, all I do is talk about Arsenal, be sarcastic and funny, and loving to everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me on. I've really enjoyed it. It's lovely talking to you too. You know, you're.
I've enjoyed it too. It's an hour and 11 minutes. It's just.
Oh my God! It just flies, doesn't it? It's Hilsey. I'm blaming him.
Well, of course it flies. When you're talking,
my lovely Hilsey.
Of course it flies, Princess.
You're probably asleep for 25 minutes of it.
Interesting. And we talked. Do you know what? I just got put off me stride there a little bit because I saw that comment there from James Johnston 91. Ferguson, we lose quite a few players, don't we? Look, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, we don't lose Lokonga.
No, not Lokonga.
Oh, yeah, he's Belgian. Yeah. Thank you, James. Thank you.
Yeah. Well done,
He's
James.
from Belgique. Yeah, so thank you so much, everybody. It's been lovely. Really nice. I do enjoy podcasting. I've missed everybody. And thank you so much for having me on. And I will be back soon if you'll have me back.
And apparently, Trev, you're a thorn between two roses.
It's a thorn between two. Oh, yeah. Okay. Then, of course. Yeah. I'm just seen a comment from Andy Fink there. Andy Fink's a good lad. I don't know Andy Fink very well, but we always have a quick chat and say hello at the Emirates Stadium. And he put a picture on this week. I think it was with his niece or his daughter. One of them. I'm sorry, I don't know that, Andy. But he put a picture on Facebook this week, and he had the biggest filter on you've ever seen. And I said to him, Andy, I think you've been ironed since I saw you last night. You know, my God. He
didn't have dark hair as well, did he?
I love the fact that you called out someone who watches the show and said that. I think you've been brilliant, Andy. The filter. Right, I've got to go. Thank you, everyone. It's been fantastic. Right. I love you both.
You have been watching the Guns and Yellow Ribbons podcast.
We're all going.
Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Thanks very much. Enjoy the show.
You've been listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans.
Russian, and this is live.
Follow us on Facebook at Guns and Yellow Ribbons and Twitter at Guns and Ribbons. And remember to rate and review us too.